Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain
And I am
Foley,
Chronicles.
and today we're going to be talking about my son David.
Mm.
That's right, we're looking at an MSD today, even though I have no son David.
But we do have an
What's
MSD.
MS?
So, you're
What's it stand for, Samuel?
Master Systems Display.
Pop quiz. Oh, you got it. God darn it.
But who's surprised?
Yeah.
How is that a difficult thing? for us, anyway.
I was trying to think of something funny on the spot, and that's the best I could do, so I'm sorry.
But what we did find on the spot in this this trailer for Lower Decks, right? A lot of visuals, and obviously we are going to analyze a ton of the tiniest little visuals in this trailer throughout this week, and one of them is the MSD, and there's a few layers to this, Stuart, and let's get to them. So we get it. Picture 1, they point to it. Great, we're like, yes, we can work out scale. Picture 2, they zoom down. Oh, look, it's the Argo Jeep. Yay, more scale. Picture 3, I sent this to Tim Davies, and we kind of stitched this together because you can turn this wonderful pan of the camera into an MSD. But then, Stuart, that was not enough, because I noticed that the next picture, they have, you tend to release multiple different types of marketing depending on the platform. Twitter needs shorter videos, YouTube kind of bigger videos, different regions, different videos, all that stuff. And on Instagram, they released this picture for a very, very split second. There was 5 frames. And oh look, much more intricate, and Tim hadn't seen that. So I went ahead and did picture 5 is I then stitched them all together to create the biggest and highest detail MSD out there, which I don't think many people are going to know about. And boy, I was not expecting this level of detail from the first trailer on a ship guy's level. I mean, it answers a lot of the questions, Stuart. What do you think?
Well, I was impressed to see an MSD, first of all. Again, didn't expect that kind of attention to detail, so it was great, actually, to see that. Now, my question is, where's the rubber ducky? Because there's always a rubber ducky hidden in the MSD. There doesn't seem to be one here. Anyway, so I was trying to count decks and stuff. I kind of got 8 was my guess.
Yeah, Tim said there's 11.
Which is almost...
So.
Yeah, almost correct. So this is actually very cool, and I think a lot of people are going to appreciate seeing this. So thank you for bringing this to us. And I'm stoked to see more of this. There's not going to be that much more to see. There's the edge of the saucer in each direction, and then the rest of the nacelle. Maybe a little subsection, a squared off area in the corner. That's the pod.
You would think so.
Yeah, because it can't be really displayed between the engines there. Yeah. So.
No, what I like about Lower Decks, and we've said often, after we saw them in Vegas and we got the vibe of what they were going down, CBS likes to be visual rebooty at the moment, and have been for the last if you include 09, for over 10 years now. And Discovery was a massive visual reboot. Picard was a somewhat visual reboot, more justifiable, but they still changed unnecessary things. Lower Decks, we both thought from the vibe, was more likely to be in line with what was created in the Berman era of many spin-offs, many movies, many things of people working from each other's designs and sort of iterating, keeping the style, and seeing this MSD be so familiar, so correct in colours, so recognisable, so following the guidelines, and yet be something new, is exciting, because this is one of those things where you see them really trying, like they have not tried before in these Star Trek iterations, and it is really refreshing. Yeah.
Well, that's what got me excited in this project, because the first time I heard it, I'm like, yay, I'm excited. Then I saw the animation style, I'm like, ooh, I'm not excited. Then we saw them in Vegas on stage, and they seemed to know their canon. They were answering a lot of questions and hitting a lot of points that made you know that they were interested in canon and kind of maintaining that. And that got my hopes back up for the show. And it's just... each time I see something more, I'm just getting more and more excited for it. I know it's silly and quirky, but I mean, that's going to be kind of fun in its own right. So
yeah, you've always got the grain of salt of animated, comedy, 30 minutes trying to be silly Rick and Morty. Those things are always going to change the vibe away from the classical Star Trek of harder-edged, live-action, sci-fi with grand meanings. Doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it as part of the era, as part of the universe, as part of the whatever. And seeing these elements is like, you take the funny as the funny, you enjoy the series for what it is, enjoy the ship. But I do want to say, obviously, instantly, Stuart, and this is one thing that we noticed, there ain't no shuttle bay doors on this ship at the aft, whereas I put them in my version, and yet there's an ample supply of shuttles and Argos, which is an unexpected addition. So, interesting. Literally, there's no doors. There's just a very, very simple rim saucer.
I don't know. We'd have to see more of the ship, obviously. I don't know if there's lift elevators, perhaps, that we're missing, but I don't think so. Like, going back to the MSD, this is actually really nice. I do appreciate the attention to detail here. I just wish there was a little rubber ducky somewhere, which in this show would fit in perfectly. Because there's a little rubber ducky. There's a few other things. There's like a regular pickup truck. There's a couple other things hidden in
Flux
the
capacitor.
MSD. Yeah, on the MSD for the Enterprise D. Little Easter eggs, as it were. But it looks here like the bridge is not on the top deck. It looks like there's another
Deck 2. Yep.
something up there. And then again, that's
Captain's
something that's
ready room, maybe?
that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
Well,
And that's kind of a new thing as far as Star Trek goes. Usually the bridge is right up there.
although the turbolift shaft looks like it doesn't go up there. Because the turbolift shaft ends on deck 2. I mean, this could be the EPS power conduits, but I don't know which is meant to be the turbolifts.
I'm not sure. I don't know even if they're pictured here or if it's the. I think it is the
big tube.
I think so, yeah. Now, the thing that interests me, though, really about this MSD that I noticed on watching, sure, you got your computer core there. We got the standard computer core that you see in all MSDs, quite large. There's no warp core in the saucer, which makes me think it's in the pod.
Oh, well, yes, but it could be the. I mean, it could be, but I think it's the. If you look right above her eyeball, there's the tube that kind of has a little square. I think that's the warp core, because it would be a roughly appropriate place.
Okay, it just doesn't look like the standard MSD warp core. So I'm not sure that's the warp core necessarily. Again,
and to clarify though, we're expecting good things of this because of the reputation of the people. It's this animated show. The fact this is this detailed, but grain of salt that they may never have a, it's like it can only go so far. But we're hoping,
So it could be that the warp core is in fact in the pod between the nacelles, and very much that would be an engineering hull at that point. So, but no, lots of great details, lots of tables, lots of chairs, lots of beds.
It actually looks in like an incredibly unremarkable ship. Almost all of it is taken up with purely simple functional things, and in fact, quite a lot of storage space it looks like, and just things to make the ship go. A single holodeck, I guess, on deck 3 below the bridge. That's what that would be to me. Looks like there's very little amenities. No arboretum. Again, this is a side view, but you tend to have those big spaces included. We know from the outside of the saucer it's mostly just windows. There's not much other details in the ship. So I get the sense this is a very simple ship, which is what it's meant to be. So the fact this is nothing remarkable is kind of nice, actually, for me anyway.
Yeah. See, okay. There's one shape I want to point out, which is actually kind of important. If you look on picture number 2, right above her finger, where she ends up, that's where the lower decks, obviously. But right above her finger, that yellow shape, which you can see in the other ones, is shaped very similar to the deuterium tanks that we see on the Enterprise D in the technical manual and stuff. So I'm wondering if those are the deuterium tanks for fuel storage. I don't know. I'm just trying to break this down. It looks like there might be a turbo shaft in the strut going down on picture 3. If those are turbo shafts,
Yep.
it could be power conduits as well. So
it's real tricky because it's not a huge ship, but I mean 11. It's both not huge and not small. I'm not sure how to guess the scale, even knowing 11 decks. Like, we haven't got the edge, so I wouldn't want to put a guess in yet. But it's definitely not big. I mean, you can see the size of the chair and the console and the bridge helm. Like, that's why we both appreciate Trek's smaller size. It's very grounded. It's very minimalist. It's not Warhammer 40k. It's not a Super Star Destroyer. It's understandable. It's not 5,000 troops worth of barracks. It's, you understand the size. It's very relatable, and wow, it's advanced because it's so small, but it does show actually that we're not, at the very least, we're not going Discovery with it in terms of scaling. And actually, I hadn't even thought that was a problem, because it's been a problem for so long that to go back to the normal is like, oh, holy wow, they went back. So I think this might be an appropriate, correctly scaled TNG era design. And why am I going to give them a clap for that when it's common sense? Because they keep messing it up. So well done. You did the correct thing.
Well, that goes back to what they said on stage in Vegas that really made me feel good, was the fact that they know their stuff. They were answering questions correctly. You remember that discussion. And how it turned me like a complete 180 on this show just because of that one panel they had. So
I mean, it's incredibly likely that whereas Picard and Discovery were the front of the Titanic pushing their way forward, so the heads of CBS, the money people, the executives that haven't got the creative chops that the creatives have, they're obviously meddling, causing changes, forcing the design aesthetics that are, what has brought a lot of these Star Trek stuff to its knees. Whereas an animated show, just like DS9, wasn't as supervised, and therefore the creatives took control and did the show it was meant to be. And so I get the feeling this show probably they had less oversight, and so when they were in the room and they said, they didn't get a thing from up in the sky of CBS Legal saying you have to make Discovery scaled, you have to do all these problematic things. They were like, well, of course it's TNG scales, and of course there's these, and there's a checklist of obviouslies, and then they're already in production before CBS noticed, and they're like, well, we're not going to change it now. So I get the sense for this show they were able to do it properly and weren't meddled with as much.
yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get. That Alex Kurtzman's name may be attached to it, but he was very much not involved. It's just as a producer, and I think that's gonna be good. I mean, they wanted to make it relatable to TNG. They wanted to tie it in quite visually, obviously. And if the ship is smaller, than the Enterprise D, I really appreciate the fact that they kept this within the parameters of the universe,
because it allows for things like if you see a Galaxy class, which I was originally not necessarily fully sold on, we'd see, or anything of a similar ilk of old canon, but we saw Space Dock in the poster, which is the first time we've seen an actual design actually reappear. Which again, in 2004, if they were announcing a TNG sequel, you would think nothing of it. Of course, there'll be a Space Dock CG model. Of course, there would. Now it's a problematic thing. So seeing that is good, because now it's a smaller scale. You can have a hero ship we know, a Sovereign, an Akira, whatever, fly by unchanged, and this ship, and we'll say, oh my god, it's such a tiny small ship, rather than Discovery where everything's upscale. It's like, wow, we're now bigger than the D, and yet we only have 45 people on the ship. It's like, yep, because it's exciting. It's exciting. It's good stuff.
I guess that's going to be it for this episode. I mean, the stitched together MSD is fantastic. I'm really happy to see that. So thank you to both you and Tim Davies for your hard work.
And well done them for making MSD and showing it, because this is sort of stuff that we live for with a small L,
But let us know in the comments, guys, what you think of the MSD. And what do you get us? Did you notice something we didn't? Did you see the ducky? Maybe there's a rubber ducky and I haven't seen it yet. And let us know your thoughts on this. Are you appreciative of the size? There's lots of things to discuss. So please put the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. You can even join the channel, help us out. Lots of great ways to help out in the description of every video. And just share it around. Just so anybody you think will enjoy it.
Well, that's the free way, but if you want to support us directly, you've got Patreon, you've got channel membership here on YouTube, you've got one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com, that's our PayPal link, and just super chat during our lives, discussing this show, other shows, and even broad fun topics, breaking news or even Fleet Yard stuff. We do the whole spectrum, and if you want to support any amount, it all goes towards us and production of the show, and without us, there is no show. Without the show, there is no fans. Without fans, we wouldn't want to keep going. So if everyone helps, then everyone keeps going, and you get a ton of shows.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Kong.
See you soon.